good to get started. There's a lot of people. So Carolyn's just going to take you through everything with when you're requesting proposals and all other request reporting needs. Make sure that you guys are on board with it now that you're getting more sales in, and so you know how to do everything. If you have any questions, might be able to get like 1 or 2 in throughout the webinar, but you can sit, and if anything, I'll make sure that it's answered afterward. I just want to make sure she gets through her presentation in the time that we have. If we have any extra time, then I'll get to the questions. All right, so Carolyn, do you want to get started?
Yep, thank you so much, Tiffany. Hey guys, this is Kelly Cope from Bridge. Hope you're all doing well. I appreciate you being on the call. I will keep this to an hour or less, and as Tiffany mentioned, if you do have any questions, just let her know, and we will cover as many as we can if we can at the end. Otherwise, I'll just be sure to reply via email afterwards. So what I want to cover today is a few things that we've noticed have gotten a lot of questions lately from the different markets. So I really want to make sure everybody's clear. A couple logistical things I'll cover first, like our new creative request portal and the proposal request portal. And then also wanted to take some time to go over the reporting. Now that all of you have the opportunity to get some campaigns closed and you're starting to receive the report that we send you on a daily basis or after the campaign, we want to make sure that you actually understand what you're looking at so that you can go back to your client and explain whether or not the campaign was successful and how it compared to the industry averages. So what I do or communicate to you is that we're actually going to implement a password on the Cumulus portal that we've set up for you. And the reason for this is because right now the portal is public. Anybody can just click on that URL and see the content that we have created for Cumulus and that we've labeled for Cumulus. And we really don't want that to be public knowledge. We want everything to appear as if it's coming directly from Cumulus and that there's no third party involved. So I think it's going to happen at some point this afternoon, but it could tomorrow. I just want to give you a heads up that sometime in the future when you log in to the portal to request a proposal or a creative or maybe a case study, it will ask you for a password. And the password is just going to be basic Cumulus 123. So once finalized, we will let Tiffany know and she will communicate it officially to everybody. But just show you is how to request a proposal. This is the screen that you'll see, which is the bridgecorp.com/cumulus/requests URL to use. And let me open so I can actually do a live example for you. When you click, it's going to bring this page. So this is the request section of the Cumulus portal, and you'll see at the top there's 3 options. There's create brief, proposal, and then new case study. If you need a proposal, just click on the one that says request for proposal, but just be careful not to click on the create brief. If you need a proposal, be sure to click on the actual proposal section information. So you want to put your contact email, so whatever your email address is. You're in, so let's just say I'm in Chicago. The name of your advertiser, the estimated budget of your client, and this is actually really, really helpful for us, so please don't leave this blank. Even if you guess in a ballpark range, that's extremely helpful, just so that we know ahead of time, is this going to be a proposal for $100 a month, or is this a proposal for $15,000 a month? So you can say something like you know, $1,500, $3K per month. That's extreme. Or say, you know, $15,000 to $20,000, something like that, where you just can give us a guideline. That's really helpful for us, so that we can track the budget and give your client the most we possibly can for the amount of money. Always just check net to cumulus. list. And this is actually also really important, so if you could try not to leave this blank, that would be really helpful. Just give us a quick description of the type of people you're trying to reach. So when age, 25 to 55, who earn at least $50K a year, currently employed, something like that, and like to go read. So if we know that this is the type of audience, we're going to find the email very different than if it's an email targeted towards men who are truck intenders or millennials or elderly people who need assisted living. So just tell us the target audience will help us design the email so that it will appeal to that type of demographic. If you have ID, you may not at that point. If you have the ID though, you could put that in here as well. And the ID, just in case anybody's confused about that, it's usually 5 to 7 digit number that our distro team, our operations team, will send to you after you request a database. So email, for example, cumuluschicago@thebridgecorp.com, and you give them this target audience description, and you find out how many people we have in our database that fit that description. Get an email back that to how many people, and then that will come with account ID. So if you have it, plug it in. If you don't have it, you can totally just skip over this part. The next section, the desired channels. You know that your client is really excited to include video in the proposal. Make sure that you check that. If you're going to want native and social, check those things. If you're not sure, then you could leave it blank and just let us use our judgment. One thing not to do is just check all of them by default. So let me go back up a little bit. So what if some people are just checking off every single one just because you think that if you check all of them, we'll just give you the best recommendation and the best campaign possible. But I want to be careful because the different channels have different costs. Select the most expensive channels. That means for your budget, we won't be able to include as many impressions, so the free go down. So this is expensive and that we do not create for the client. So only that if you know your client has video content that we can use the campaign, or if your market can create the video content that we can use in the campaign, please don't check it because it will affect impressions that we're able to include. Same thing, native and social. Those are more expensive. Facebook, Instagram, native are also extremely effective channels, so always recommend including them anytime you can. But the one that you really want to watch out for is video. Only check that if you know your client has video. Let us know what is included in the proposal. If you know that this is just an email campaign and it's not including anything else, just that box. But if you want to do a full people-based marketing campaign and you want it to include email and multi-channel, check both. If you also want it to include something like fencing or some other type of banner, check that. Know what to include in the proposal. So are the start date and the end date of the campaign. So this is a campaign that's going to run, November 1st, or if it's going to be January 1st of next year. Let us know. Check the date, check the end date. If it's going to be an annual campaign, let us know, because we sometimes will give a little bit of a price break if it's an annual, because it's such a big buy, than if it's just maybe a 3-month campaign. And then proposal deadline date. Leave this blank. If you leave it blank, it might push to the bottom of our pile because we have other proposals already in the queue that have specific due dates. Don't put a date here. Yours will just be at the end. We may not get it to you when you are thinking we will get it to you. So if you have a specific date, please give us at least 48 hours to turn it around if you can. And you put it right there, and then you click submit. and you see a thank you confirmation page so that you know it was submitted. And that, the operations team and your account director will receive it, and we will get you the proposal as quickly as we can. So that's how you proposal. It's how to request creative. So this is using the exact same URL. What I recommend is just bookmark it down so you have it handy, but this is the exact same URL whether you need creative or a proposal. So I'll walk you through. Oh, let me go back. Okay. It's the first option. You really want to, again, make sure that proposals do not check the creative brief. We've had a few cases where we're getting creative requests, and as I see it, I can kind of tell that the AE meant to request a proposal. And I'll explain why this is important in just a minute, but just know that you're not confusing the two. Request for proposal is a request for proposal, and the creative brief is a request for the creative. So only check this after the campaign is closed, and we've typed it here at the top. So please only submit a creative brief if it has been submitted. If you have the contract signed and your campaign is officially closed. So it's time your contact email. Okay. So let's say Bridgeport, the advertiser site. So this is different from the landing page. Some advertisers will build a separate landing page, or they will want to drive traffic to a certain section of their website, like maybe the product section or the application page or something like that. This is what we're asking for. Right now, we just want the advertiser's website. And we ask that because we like to visit the website just to get a good look and feel for the brand advertiser. And we want to understand what types of color they use and images and what types of information and content they like to put on their website. So that's why it's important to just put the main website there. The proposal, so it's design all of the creative. So we like to ask to try to give us at least 5 business days to do this. So ideally, you should be running the creative days before it has to actually launch. More if possible, just in case your client requests additional creative changes or edits, but at least 5 business days if possible. I'm going to check, since today's the 18th, check October 25th. What types of creative we have to design for your client or for the campaign. Are you the email? If so, email design and the coding. If we're in a multi-channel, check that. Or you can just do one or the other. Doing all, I'll check all 3 and then also check the all button just because I like to be very clear. And the campaign goal is. So if it's a promotion or a sale, check that. Or if it's just general brand awareness, check that. Or if it's something else, you can check that. And that just, again, helps us understand what type of layout to use and what focus of the email piece will be, or what the focus of the banner ads will be. And it's very important. So this is the section for campaign details. If you need the box bigger, by the way, just check this horizontal in the bottom right corner of the box, and you can drag it and make it bigger. This is the section where you basically just type in all information that you can to communicate to our designers what it should look like. And please keep in mind that the designer is not your manager, it's not your account director, you. So the designer is somebody who up until this point has been completely blind to who your client is and what the campaign is going to all be about. So they have no idea information until you put it in this box. So you want to clear what the goal of the campaign is, how you're going to measure the success, if there's any specific copy points that we need to include in the email or in the banner ads, what call to action is going to be. Try to be as specific as possible when you're describing your client is expecting to see. And it speeds the turnaround, and it avoids us having to go back and forth constantly trying to make changes. Designers really want to avoid a situation where they put all of this effort into creating something great and they send it and your client sees it, they make 50 million changes. So if your client has a vision, please try to communicate it in this box as best you can. If you have that, just pick on and call me or your account director and explain it to them over the phone, and they can help you type it out. Target audience. This is really important because depending on the audience, it's going to affect how we design the email. If you're targeting millennials, we're going to do something completely different if you're targeting people the age of 65, or if you're doing a campaign towards mothers, that's going to look completely different towards a campaign targeting businessmen. So trust the description of the audience. It's providing any creative assets, like their logo, some images, past email creatives they've used that have worked well or that they really liked. Please save them in a folder on your computer and transfer to a zip file, and then you can just choose the file and click and add it that way. But attach any files or images right here that we can use for creative inspiration. And then here are the banners. So just let us know which banners are going to be included in your campaign. Again, we don't create video, so that's why that's not an option. But you can check off Facebook, social, desktop, native, all the other ones right there. When you're ready to go, click submit, and you'll get a screen so that you know it went through. Let's see. Oh, probably low. Yeah, if you miss anything, it's going to let you know. So because I didn't type in campaign DI. Okay, click submit. Let's see. I'm not sure at this moment, I probably just forgot a field, but if you click submit, you'll get a thank you, and then that's how you know it went through. If you don't get it, if this is happening to you and for some reason it's not going through, just let us know. Oh, it's because this is mandatory. That's why I got it. There we go, because I didn't attach any creative assets. So let you know if you're missing a mandatory field, and if you aren't getting this thank you, it's a great signal that you're forgetting something, and just go back, make sure you checked off everything, filled in all the fields, and once you get this thank you page, you know it went through successfully. Okay. So about the creative request, one of the reasons why it's extremely important to not accidentally check a creative request when you actually need a proposal request, because if you request creative and we execute that and we create something for you and send it to you, we're going to charge your market for that hard cost. So request creative, the hard cost is $250, and if you request your ads, the hard cost is $175. So please know that if you fill a creative request and you click submit and we get that and we work it for you and send it over, we are going to charge you for it. So this should be used for mock-ups, like if you're trying to show your client what an email could look like for them before the campaign actually closed. Please, these are not free services, and they should be used only if you understand that you will be charged. So put that note here on the right-hand side in red, just to really make sure that we're clear on that. Two other vendors, if you request both email and banner ad creative, and that we are going to design the email creative first and send that to you, and wait until that is officially totally approved before we begin working on the banner ad creative. And the reason we do that is because If it does want to make any edits or changes to the creative we send over, if we email proof first, that means all we have to change is one thing. We'll go back to the email, we'll change it, it'll take us a minute, we'll send it back to you for reapproval at that point. But if we do everything at once at first and we can make changes, we're going to have to make changes to like 10 different things, and that just takes way more time. So when at the first proof, please just know that you're only going to get the email. It's not the banner ads, it's just part of our process to be more efficient. Once email is totally approved, we'll create the banner ads and we'll send those to you really in less than 4 hours. So there's been a lot of questions about that. Where are banner ads? And just know that we will once the email proof is approved by your client. And then keep in mind is we try to encourage the AEs to set an expectation with your client that they get 2 rounds of edit requests. We're not trying to be difficult, we're just trying to be efficient, and we're trying to launch campaigns on time. So you could please try to communicate to your client that they get 2 chances to request edits, and hopefully we get the email proof approved. So what that looks like is we will email proof, we'll send it to you, send it to your client, and ask them what they think. They have at that point to request any changes or edits, and we'll back and do those. We'll send a second proof for approval. Now you have one opportunity to make edits or changes. Take those to us, and we will create a third proof. By then, we really want to get an approval. We really want to avoid having to go back and forth 15 times, making tiny little tweaks here and there. So try to ask your client to the edit request at once and be as clear as possible, because the more times we have to go back and forth, the longer it's going to take us to actually get an approval and launch the campaign. Okay, if you request a count, I know a lot of our employees have been talking about the distro list, and not everybody, I think, understands what that is. The distro list is basically just your specific market's email that sent to our operations team. So the formula for the email is the same for every market, pretty much. It's basically just Cumulus, the name of the city, at thebridgecorp.com. So if I'm from Detroit, my email is just Detroit@thebridgecorp.com. If I'm from Houston, my email is cumulushouston@thebridgecorp.com, and so on. So we need to request a count, which basically means your email and say, this is the target audience I'm trying to reach. Can you please tell me how many people are in your database that fit this target description? This email address on the screen, and you response back usually within a couple hours that tells you the number of people in our database that fit the exact target audience description you're looking for. That is the count. Count ID. So are getting requests as you're filling out forms for what the count ID is. That's what that means. It's a 5 to 7-digit number that identifies the specific target audience that you are intending to use for this specific campaign. One note is with the email address, you know, the Cumulus Detroit at thebridgecorp.com or whatever your market's email address is, this gets sent to a team of people. It gets sent to your account director, so me, Mike Martin, Jeff, or Arlo, maybe Adam, whoever the director is, and it also goes to a big team of operations staff that we have, and those are the people that are executing your campaign, monitoring your campaign, making improvements to it and optimizations. They're the ones pulling your reporting. They're the people generating the case studies. So there's a big team behind everything that we're doing. And we send an email to using this email address, it goes to everybody. So what you do is a response back from somebody. Remember, if you need to further communicate with that person, you need to keep email chain going. Always try to carbon copy this email address on, so it keeps everybody on the team in the loop on what you need and what's going on. because the way this operations team works is let's say you need an email count and you send an email to nashville@thebridgecorp.com and you get a response back from Nico, and you go back to Nico, come in and do that second response, or Daniel might, or I might. So always remember to carbon copy this email address, email chain, so that everybody's in the loop and they can continue to help each other out. It basically just helps us work more efficiently and get you what you need faster. That's all. Those logistical things, I want to cover reporting. I know a lot of you are asking questions, and we're sending you these standard reports, or which are in form of Excel documents, and you're looking at them and you have no idea what the heck you're looking at. That's total, and I feel your pain. So I really want to try to explain to you what you should be looking at and teach you to know when not the number, so you can take them to your client and know whether or not they should or we need to make improvements. Emailing, I'll basically just walk you through it. At the top, it's going to come again in the form of an Excel document, but it looks just like this. This is a screenshot. I did not make any alterations to it. This is a screenshot of a report we just pulled for a campaign out of Nashville. It was for a company called Dickens Garden Supply. They did a campaign and also multi-channel ads, and the email report looks like. We send it for 5 days. So at the top, you'll see the name of the market, company name, but basically it'll just say Cumulus Nashville. And the reason we label it company name is because if you want to forward it directly to your client, they will go to the company as Cumulus Nashville. Name is what we try to be as clear as possible. So Dickens, email, multi-channel, September 2017. The date. That's the date we actually deployed the emails to target audience, was September 19th, 2017. The client, 45 emails. And we always over a little bit on purpose. So you can see when you look at the delivered row to that blue order line, you'll see we delivered 40,694 emails. So we went a little above what the client actually ordered, and we always do that. You don't have to pay for that. You do not have to charge your client for that. It's just added value. Email subject line, which is just to jog your memory of which campaign it was. So if it's a monthly, if your client signs a 12-month deal, this will help you hopefully remember which was. So this email was promoting the new store that opened in Mount Juliet. The next one number is the gross opens. So if you gross opens, you'll see that we had 4,134, which is a 9.19% open rate. Important number to look at. I always look at the gross opens. That's the total number of times that it was opened once it is somebody's inbox. The gross opens is the total. So even if the same person opens the email 3 times, all those will count towards the opens number. If unique opens, you look at the next line. Unique opens was 3,883. How many unique people open email? So 45,694 people we delivered this to, 1,883 people opened it, but a few of those people opened it more than once, and that's why the total is a little bit larger. It's the exact same thing. So the gross clicks is the total clicks. So if the same person clicked once, all those clicks are counted in the gross number. That was 310. The unique clicks is for the unique people who clicked within the email to visit the landing page. And that was 281. Subs or the unsubscribes, and both see the number of mobile opens and mobile clicks. The mobile opens number, 3,085, is rare to drive the fact that is king. It's on mobile devices. Usually we see anywhere from 70 to 80% of the total opens occur on a mobile device. So what that shows us is how important it is for your client to have a mobile-friendly landing page or a mobile-friendly website. As you can see, the mobile clicks number was 222. Over 71% of all of the clicks happened on a mobile device. So as consumers are clicking from a smartphone to visit your client's website, it's got to be mobile-friendly. Otherwise, it's not going to be a good experience for that consumer. So this is an upsell opportunity. If you know your client does not have a mobile-friendly site, try to sell one. Below the mobile clicks and the mobile opens, you can see all the links. Right now we're looking at, this is a pretty large number of links here. Most campaigns probably don't have that many, but some, it depends on how many clickable links your client wants in their email content. So some advertisers, they just drive people to their website. So anywhere a consumer clicks in an email creative, it's just going to take their website. You might see one link. But in this case, they had a lot of different things going on. They wanted to drive people to the location section. They had a coupon section. They wanted to drive people to their landscape and turf supplies, the phone number, the content, the YouTube channel. There was a ton of stuff that Dickens wanted us to drive traffic to. So there's a breakdown, and it shows how many people clicked on each section of that email. So there's a lot of really great stuff in this report. The thing that I pay the most attention to is right here. I tell them how many emails we deliver successfully into inboxes. Gross opens got, which was 4,134. How many clicks, which was 310. And then I have mobile opens and the mobile clicks. And there you'll see that the number in the bottom right corner of clicks, 110, that's always going to match the number of gross clicks, which is up here. So what do all these percentages mean? Are these good? Are they bad? How do they compare to the national average? Here's going to help you through that. So the acquisition email open rate between 6.74 and 8.6. So the report, you'll see our gross open rate was 9.19%. That is an average. So that's great. Anything above 8% is great. So please keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that our campaigns that we do are acquisition email campaigns. The of email marketing is doing a campaign to an internal database. So if a client who has built a database of customers over the years, that's completely different from what we're doing. We're reaching consumers who might have never heard of Dickens Garden Supply before. They don't even know that this company exists. They are not part of the current database. So it's more difficult for us to reach a total new group of people and get them signed up as advertiser. Whereas if Dickens all the database full of loyal customers and they're emailing that internal list, they're going to get much higher open rates. So for this, the average open rate is 24.79%. And I've put that right here on this first bullet point. So I'm communicating this to you because there'll be a chance that you go in and meet with your client and you show them the report and you're psyched that got a 9.19% open rate. And then your client goes back to you and goes, I usually get a 25% open rate when I do campaigns through Constant Contact or through MailChimp. I want to know that that's because they're emailing their internal list, and that's totally different. It's two completely separate things. So it's not apples to apples. So I just wanted with that information that the average for acquisition is between 6.7 and 8.6%. Email click-through rate for gross clicks is 4.19, and we are 75. So that's higher than average. That's awesome. So Dickens should be pumped at this report. They should be very happy. I'm very pleased with this. This is a great report. If report back and the results were not as great as we were hoping, there are always three things that I look for. The first things I look at if I know that I need to improve email data is I look at brief, does it do, and is there a strong call to action? So is it brief? Consumers like reading lengthy emails. They want to read a newspaper in their inbox. So I always try to have this be more heavy on the visuals and the engaging images and video versus text. Of 20 less. That's what Facebook's rule is, and I think it's great. So try to create content that can be totally just skimmed real quick by the consumer, and they'll still get the gist of what you're trying to communicate. So brief and concise, it has to add value. Make sure that the consumer reading your email, it's worth their time. So necessarily be, or a coupon or a fancy promotion. You can add value by giving them, tips, seasonal tips, offer them something that's informative, that adds value. That's good enough, but make sure that it adds some sort of value to the consumer. And have a strong call to action. Make sure that you're telling the consumer what the next step is. If they email, what are they supposed to do from there? Are they supposed to click to buy a ticket, click an application? Are they supposed to click to learn, click to make a purchase? What is it that you want the consumer to do? Make sure that it's clear and very visible in the content. A few statistics that I thought were really interesting and helpful in terms of email and email trends today. So the first, consumers are 2 times as likely to sign up for an email list as they are to interact with a business on Facebook. That goes to show how important email is. Consumers really prefer to interact with business via email versus social media. 7 consumers prefer email as the source of communication from businesses. So they want to see, they don't want people to reach out to them social media necessarily or through other ways that they're using their devices. Email is always seems to be the #1 requested way for businesses to reach out to consumers. Consumers enjoy receiving promotional emails up to 4 times per month from advertisers. So this statistic is really interesting because a lot of advertisers are always afraid to send more than 1 or 2 emails each month. They're afraid that they're going to annoy consumers. But again, email is the preferred way for consumers to receive information from businesses. So they want emails more than anything else. So you could do up to 4, up to 1 every single week and still not annoy the consumers. So that's something to keep in mind for sure. Email subject lines are 26% more likely to be opened. So when we're executing a campaign, try a subject line that can incorporate the recipient's first name. Instead of just saying Mount Juliet, we could have said, hey Tiffany, a store just opened in Mount Juliet. That's a much more effective subject line than just saying, buy one free, open now. You want to grab the attention of the recipient. And we're happy to do it. 90% of consumers prefer to check their emails from a smartphone. That's something that we've already proven. So make sure that the landing page is mobile friendly. You want to check your email every single day. I love that because it proves the power of email. If we know that 91% of target audience is going to check their email every day, That's a great way for us to get in front of our eyeballs immediately. Email opens occur within 48 hours of deployment. And that's why we always pull the report 5 days after we deploy it, because by then, if they have it, they're probably not going to. So 76% will check that email within 40 hours. So if you have an event that you're trying to last-minute ticket sales for, or if there's a weekend sale happening at a dealership this weekend, or if there's anything that's time-sensitive, email is a really strong product to include campaign. Now we're going to display. So the display report includes and mobile ads. This particular image does not include social media. This is just desktop and mobile. So the way the display report will come to you is, again, in an Excel document. This for a campaign in Grand Rapids, Michigan for a business called Haunt. It's one of those Halloween festivals that happens in the woods. And so far, we've delivered 20,961 impressions. And this column will show a breakdown of all the different ad units. So you can see the desktop ad units, the TAD units, and the mobile ad units. And we'll show how many impressions were served of each ad unit. So you see which ones are performing the strongest. Looks like are getting the most impressions. So the 3x480 and the 300x250 on mobile devices getting the most impressions served. The total clicks. So far, I've gotten 104 clicks, and you'll see how many people have clicked on each ad unit. And again, the mobile ads are performing the strongest, not a surprise. Click-through rate. So far, the click-through rate is 0.496%. Pay the most attention to are number of impressions and total click-through rate. I have the number of impressions because I want to make sure that we're pacing correctly. Like if this is a 3-week campaign and we're halfway through, I want to make sure that we are at the mark of impressions. That's how we know whether or not the campaign is pacing on track. And the click-through rate is probably the biggest client is going to look at, is whether the click-through rate is above average or below average. So what does that mean? What is it bad? It looks really low. I've got no idea. Just here's the benchmark. So the average display click-through rate is between 0.05% and 0.06%. So, and look at 0.49, actually almost 10 times higher than average. That's insanely high. We were psyched when we saw this. So this campaign is performing very well. The client should be extremely thrilled with a 0.496% click-through rate. Average is 0.06. And that average is actually a little bit lower than it used to be. It used to be 0.1% was average. So I think the past few years, the average has been 0.1%, but we're seeing a trend that fewer people are actually clicking on our ads. That does not mean that our ads don't work. They're still, the only changing is the way consumers are interacting with the ads. They're still seeing them, they're still listening to the advertisements, they're not doing it in the form of clicks anymore. And that's why it's so important to communicate to the client our proof of ROI tools, like the UTM parameters, the price pixels, the traffic attribution, the matchback report, all of those additional reports that we can send to your client will prove the campaign and prove that we're still getting conversions, even if not getting as many clicks as traditionally display used to get. Because especially with millennials, people see an ad, they're so busy and also have so many devices all the time that they're using throughout the day that people see an ad and they'll want to learn more, but they'll do that by picking up advice at a different time during the day, and they'll just visit the website later. So ads are still working, they're just getting as many clicks as we used to get. And thing to note is that campaigns tend to perform 35% better when different media types are incorporated into the campaign. So I know that this has been drilled in your head, but radio and digital work extremely well when they're paired together. So keep in mind, if you gain back and it's not performing as strong as it could, can we incorporate radio? Are they doing radio? Are promoting the same thing digitally that we're promoting on air? It should be consistent, because if they are, they will help both perform better. Reviewed 53% more than static banner ads. So I get a lot of questions about native ads and what native ads are. Basically, native ads will still be served on either a desktop or a mobile device. So it's the same devices. There's no change there. But the difference between a native ad and desktop ad is basically the format and the placement of the ad. So a standard would be like a leaderboard at the very top of the screen, or a 250 square-shaped ad that would be on the side of the screen. Those are static displays. They're very easy for consumers to ignore because they have banner blindness, and they're just so overwhelmed with so many ads that it's all become completely immune to them by this point. But an ad is designed to look like it's supposed to be part of the natural content of what the consumer is looking at on the website. So ad will be placed maybe between two paragraphs on the screen. And as the consumer is reading that article on HuffingtonPost.com, the ad be in between the paragraphs, so the user eyeballs have to go over it as they're moving from one paragraph to the next. So that is just an ad that's placed more strategically on the page so they're visible. A great tool that I'll actually show you real quick, just to drive home what this is Facebook. I'll just go to Facebook. So Facebook can serve ads. They have the red rail, which is like this wedding registry ad right here on the right-hand side. This is a static banner ad. I'm not going to pay attention to that. As the ad stays there. If it stays there, it's very easy for me to ignore. But my news feed, which is actually paying attention to, every while I'm going to see a spot ad like this. So I'm friends with. It's obviously, this is advertisement, but because it's in the feed and it's part of the natural content of what I actually want to be looking at, I'm seeing it. It's much more likely to look at this ad than I am to look over here on the right-hand rail. These are super easy for me to ignore. So that's between a stat ad and a native ad. But with it would have been on an actual website, not on Facebook. It would be on a website or a mobile site that a user is using, and the ad would be placed in the content between paragraphs, so that's more likely to take a look at it. And that's, they're 53% likely to become viewed. Statistics. Users who are retargeted are 70% more likely to convert. So this is another upsell opportunity for you. The goal of the campaign is to drive traffic to a website, like for the Hunt campaign, we're going to drive traffic to their website to buy tickets to go to this attraction. Retargeting would basically look for any consumer who visits the website but leaves before purchasing tickets. Then marketing ads would follow that person with their frequency of ads. And that person would be 70% more likely to return because they're constantly getting that reminder to go back and buy their ticket. And the latter, 54% of users do not click on banner ads because they don't like them. So this is really a recent trend. There's so many hacks that are happening now, so things that people are terrified of doing things online and getting information stolen. That's why people don't like to click on ads anymore. So it's nothing in control, but lucky for us, we have tools in place where we can still track how the campaign is performing without just relying on whether or not people are clicking on the banner ads. Okay, this is social reporting. I've been selling digital forever, and I saw this report, and I was like, what am I looking at? It's very confusing if you don't understand what you're looking at. So I really want to make sure that everybody's clear on all of this information. It's great information, but a ton of it. So I want to walk you through it. So the two social channels that we use are Facebook and Instagram. So as you'll see, the Excel chart that we send you is going to have Facebook up at the top, and then you'll see the Instagram information right below it. The second shows the device that the user was on when they saw the ad. Pretty forward. Next, the impressions. It shows how many were served on each of those devices. So if the consumer ordered, 8,000 impressions, you can see that we did 20,000 on Facebook and 8,000 on Instagram. So that's the total of impressions that have been delivered so far. Clicks, that's obviously how many times somebody clicked on the ad that they saw. Then page engagement. This is the total number of actions or engagements that consumers made on the advertiser's Facebook page as a result of seeing our ad. So engagement is an interesting one. What that means is, let's say I am part of the target audience, so give me a Facebook ad, and I click it. Then I get taken to the advertiser's Facebook page. And there I scroll down, maybe I follow them, maybe I like other posts that are on that advertiser's Facebook page. The page engagements are. So this is additional activity that I'm doing on the advertiser's page because I clicked on the ad and got taken there. So it's like engagement that we're tracking. Which is the next line next to it, total number of actions or engagements that a consumer made on the actual ad. Include if I put a heart on it, if I comment on it, if I share it, anything I do to the ad that we served for the client, all tracked as a post engagement. A breakdown of that. So page likes, post shares, post comments, and reactions. So all of those are exactly what they say. How many likes you got, how many people commented on the actual ad, and the reactions. The reactions could be anything that you see down here. The thumbs up, the heart, the laughing face, the wow face, the sad face, or the angry face. Two, the social clicks and the social impressions. These are fascinating to me. These were really interesting. So social clicks is total clicks. The clicks that you decide how many people who are in target audience who saw clicked on it. Clicks is the number of clicks that the ad received by friends or followers and who was in the target audience and got. So let's say Tip is part of the audience. Okay, so we're trying to identify females who work in New York City for racing corporations, and Tiffany is in that target audience. She ad on her Facebook feed. Tiffany and I Facebook. And I'm not part of the target audience. I'm in Boston. I'm not part of that target audience. But because Tiffany and I are friends, I might see the advertisement just I'm friends with Tiffany and engage with it an icon on the ad, that's what's going to be tracked in the social clicks. These are basically like extended reach clicks. People who are not part of the original target audience who still somehow saw the ad and engaged with it. So that's extra exposure for the advertiser that they didn't even pay for. That's what social clicks means. And the impressions is the same thing. It's the total number of times the ad was viewed by somebody who's just a friend or follower, a person who was actually part of the target audience who we intended to serve the ad to. So if left-hand side and look at impressions, that would be, you know, if we serve the ad to Tiffany on her Facebook feed, she's part of the audience, so she's included in this impressions number. But see the ad, I'm not part of the target audience, I'm just a friend of her, so I see it. That's counted under social impressions. So those are the extended clicks and the extended reach impressions. Then you get the rate and social click-through rate. The social, again, is that extended reach. Those are friends or followers of the actual targeted audience. And then the engagement rate. So averages to look for. The average Instagram click-through rate is 0.4%, and the average Facebook click-through rate is 0.9%. So if you look at the average Instagram, we're at 0.66. So that's better than average. And with Facebook, we're at 0.52. That's actually slightly lower than average, but it's still a solid click-through rate. Still very good. Overall, this campaign has performed very, very well. Then the one I'll show you right here is just something that I found really fascinating was the top Can you hear me?
Yeah, you cut out for like 2 seconds.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. We were doing so well with no cutouts. I'm so impressed. Well, I was just basically telling you guys that the top performing industry right now on Facebook is legal. So attorneys right now are getting highest click rates and engagement rates over any other industry. So if you have attorneys in your market that you work with, keep this in mind. This might be a great solution for them. The other obvious, retail, apparel, beauty, technology, fitness, those of course perform incredibly well on social media. So if you have any in those categories, we should definitely be executing social media campaigns for them. And then it goes all the way down through real estate, travel, healthcare, auto, B2B, and all the way down to employment and job training. Those are the top industries right now on Facebook. And that's it. If we have questions, I'm happy to answer them. Otherwise, Tiffany, you can just email them to me if you want to do that, and we can answer them that way.
Yeah, any questions pop up throughout the presentation. So if anybody does want to talk to us afterwards, you can reach me or Carol, anybody else that you talk to from Bridge usually. But that's it. Thank you everybody for tuning in.
Good one.